Cooking Issues coming to you live from the heart of Manhattan, Rockefeller Center, New York City, Newsstand Studios. Joined as usual behind me today, John. How you doing?
Doing great.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear it. Got Joe Hazen rocking the panels. What's up?
Hey, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hey, I hear Nastasia's coming a little later, so hopefully we get her a little later in the program. We got, I think, Jackie Molecules in Los Angeles.
Yes, sir. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm good. Good.
And since I came in here like hot and heavy, do we have the upper left today? No, Quinn's still not feeling up to it. Hopefully, maybe he'll call in towards the end of the program and give a howdy. Be good to hear from Quinn. So, without further ado, introduce today's special guest, oftentimes guest, friend of the show. I'm going to say friend of the show, Captain Oily himself, Nick Coleman. How you doing?
How's it going out there, everyone in Radio Land?
Yeah, and Basin Bensuri Master. Since the last time I was on the show, we went to go see what's the name of the band that you're the bassist in?
Dr. Baklava and Human Growth Hormone. HGH.
Now let me ask you a question about human growth hormone. Is that the stuff that when it runs unchecked leads to agromelic? You know the word that I can't pronounce that Andre the Giant had and Ted Cassidy, who played Lurch.
Some sort of enlarging of the human genetic.
I can see the word, but I can't say it. Agromegaly. I can't say that.
I don't even know what you're referring to.
You grow real tall. You get a real deep voice. And eventually it ends up being harmful because your bones keep growing past when they should.
I know nothing of this. All I know how to do is play bass.
Well, and apparently name your band.
Acromegaly.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. I don't know why. It's one of those words I can't say.
Never heard of it.
Oh, you got to look that up. That's Andre the Giant. Yeah.
And the pituitary glands produce too much growth hormones.
Yeah. Too much of a good thing. That's my...
I think HGH, like, it's given to young children who are small and they need to grow more. They'll HGH them.
I think the issue is that there are therapeutic levels of everything, and then there are non-therapeutic levels. And as Americans, we often fall prey to if a little bit is good, maybe a crap ton is better.
Yeah. The classic Britney Spears quote, "Give me more."
Yeah. When, I get it. Never being satisfied is helpful for self-growth. Not hormone growth, but, self-growth, like never being fully satisfied. But you should be happy with what you've accomplished while at the same time not feeling completely satisfied, like you have nothing else to do.
Correct. Resting on the laurels is the end of everything. Correct.
I like the color of your shirt, by the way. I hope people who are on Patreon can see the color of your shirt. I can't really describe it. It's
Thank you.
Dark teal?
It's I love Joni Mitchell, and Joni Mitchell wears things like this in the 80s when she would play live, so I wanted to channel Dear Joni.
It also feels soft. May I touch it?
Oh, you may very well touch it.
Oh, it is, yes. It's nice and soft. It's the kind of thing where I if I saw it on a rack, I'd be like, oh yeah. I don't know that I could rock that color. I think it would make me look sick, but you can.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Maybe it's the beard.
If you are listening on Patreon, call in your oily questions to 917-410-1507. That's 917-410-1507. And if they're not on Patreon, John, why don't you tell them why they might want to be and how they do that?
You go to patreon.com/cooking issues. There's a couple different membership levels. You get different perks at every membership level, like access to the video. So you could see Nick Coleman's shirt right now if you were of that membership level.
John, good color, no?
Yeah, excellent color.
Joni Mitchell.
I love one of them. Yeah. You get discounts to books at Kitchen Arts and Letters. You get prioritized questions being answered. We got some great guests coming up. Just a lot of great things to look forward to. So patreon.com/cooking issues.
By the way, last week on the show, we had Jim Leahy and Peter Hoffman, his co-writer. And the book that I was supposed to be talking to him about arrived yesterday. Nice.
Excellent.
Nice.
Good timing.
Nice. Yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. That's the first time that's ever happened. Someone showed up that I know personally, and I was like, what do you mean you got a new book out? Oh, crap. You know what I mean? First time ever. First time, I hope last time. So, you guys, I'm going to push a little something for my man John here. I don't know if you know this, Nick, and or Jack over there next time you're in New York, or Joe. Temperance Wine Bar, so John left Booker and Dax. He had Quinn's job, and he left Booker and Dax and the centrifuge biz in general, and to become the chef of what at the time was Temperance Wine Bar. It is now being relaunched to more focus just on Temperance being a restaurant that also has an excellent wine list. Am I correct here?
That is correct.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so you want to say something about, and you've been talking on the air about
Forever.
developing a new menu, but I think people who are pros in the industry like talking about menu development. So what do you got going? I know you're doing the relaunch. I think like the official one on Saturday.
Next Thursday. The menu's been out for about 2 or 3 weeks now, fully, and it's been going well. I'm happy to hear it, and it's nice to be doing food that's more personal to me, whereas I liked the food that I was doing before this, but that was just more kind of like generic wine bar neighborhoody kind of thing. Now it's more creative, there's more technique going into it, and it's been a lot more fun to do and cook and plate, and it's fun to have see a bit of yourself on the plate, I guess. So it's nice to finally be at that point in my career. Thank you.
All right, so what was the dish? What was the dish in this menu because there's always one where you went really far down a road, like tweaking, and then all of a sudden we're like, and then just had to go back to some sort of internal roots and reset, and it came out better?
Probably the fish dish, the water zooey. Really fudged around with that sauce a lot, which is now just a little bit of reduced fish stock and a heavy cream that has leeks blended and strained out, so it's got a nice leaky flavor. But it was trying to get those 3 flavors in balance. And, at one point I was really just trying to do too much with the leeks to try and make sure it was on the plate. And it was just too much. And then I just had to revert back and just kind of dial in the ratios. So I think that's the answer to that question.
No, and I think it's helpful to people because I want people who are out there beating their heads against the wall on a particular menu item or food, just chill for a minute. Just take a chill pill. Reset. Yeah,
just go back to square 2 or something like that and start resetting from there. There was a good nugget of an idea, and once you get too far from it, you just got to go back.
Yeah, get that nugget back.
The Nintendo Entertainment System only had 2 buttons, power and reset, lest we forget the power of the reset.
Well said.
There you go.
There
you go. You know what's another, this one, 2 buttons just to work it was, do you ever play the game Track and Field?
Yes.
Yeah, literally just 2 buttons. And if your fingers aren't almost broken by the time you've played Track and Field, like you are not playing it correctly.
It really destroys wrists and finger movement.
Yeah, it's really good if you're like a kung fu practitioner and you're practicing iron hands. You know what I mean? Because just
anyway. Total carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah, it's a nightmare of a game. I mean, I appreciate playing it. I played it. I built a MAME cabinet years ago, and I introduced my kids to this game that I played when I was a little kid. And Dax was like, "Oh yeah, all right, I'm gonna beat the hell out of this game." You know what I mean? Like, anyway. I had something else on.
You could probably hot rod your buttons too with some cool springs.
Yeah. Or what if you were like a genius and you like almost built your drum, like your buttons like a snare drum, like you built your own drums that could have like a rap, so you could be like
you could do some paradiddles and you can do some rolls.
Yeah. So back to the cream. I appreciate you bringing the cream out. I hope cream makes a comeback in sauce land. Do you remember Peterson's original sauce book that came out? I want to say in you guys were barely born, but it came out in like 1990s. There was a redo, but the original one, original James Beard award-winning sauce book. When I read that, it was the prime era of, if you want to make a sauce, what you do is you add cream and you reduce it. And here's how you make it so it doesn't break. But basically, it's all reduced cream. And you know what? When I read that book, I was like, that stuff tastes good.
Yeah, delicious.
You know what I mean?
Very much so.
Yeah. And then we all moved away from it as being quote unquote too heavy towards what's weird, which was we moved to a retro French idea of cuisine masseur, right? Yeah. And then so now, like, I'm glad to see my man John is like, you know what's good? Cream.
Yep.
It's delicious.
Delicious.
All good fats, yeah.
And here's something I read. Now, guys, I want you to know, I do drink alcohol, but I don't take drugs, not because I'm against them. It's just it's never become part of my general practice. I'm a little bit worried that my brain's already a little tweaked, and I'm worried about tweaking it further, period. You know what I mean? But I think maybe I was high because I think I read that vichyssoise is an American freaking dish.
Whoa. No way. Isn't that an
possible?
Escoffier thing?
That's what I'm saying. Was I high? Was I dreaming? Is this one of those, you know how occasionally misinformation will burrow into your brain while you're asleep, and when you wake up, it doesn't vanish like most dreams do? But there's something stuck in my head that vichyssoise is an American invention.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't allow that.
Yeah, somebody help me out here. Somebody please help me. Like, because now it's like gnawing at me. Like worse than this UN council meeting traffic that I...
Like an Escoffier's disciple who was working at the Ritz-Carlton here in New York, supposedly.
Hey, you know what I don't believe? Any origin story. I don't even know why I brought it, because you know who cooks a lot of soup with leeks? The French. You know what I'm saying? And so like maybe the term vichyssoise, you know what I'm saying? But
what a beautiful term that is. It really rolls off the tongue.
Vichyssoise. And while we're on soups, borscht hot or cold?
Cold.
Yeah. Foie gras.
It depends on the time of year, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's so temperature based.
In the
summer I want cold, in the winter I want warm.
The thing about cold soups is, unless it's chunky, I feel stupid eating a cold soup with a spoon.
What about a salmorejo, the Spanish tomato-based cold soup?
Is it similar to a gazpacho?
It's similar to like a papa al pomodoro, but not as bready.
So like a ribolito, but
soupier. And cold.
Yeah, if it's chunky, if it's got texture, I'm okay. I feel stupid taking a spoon to a cold consommé.
Might as well drink it.
Exactly. And I don't want to drink my beets. So I'm going to have to say hot on the borscht. What do you think about like a white borscht? It's not really beets.
I like the red hot borscht with a dollop of cold sour cream.
Oh, yeah.
The hot and cold combo is really critical.
Now, I'm mentally thinking behind me here, sour cream or creme fraiche, fool?
Sour cream.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the thickness of the sour cream.
Yes. Jack, I'm glad you're with me too here, because everybody here, we all love the taste of creme fraiche, but it bleeds like a mother.
Seriously. Yep.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. And like the real Franche aren't willing to stabilize. We can fix it. I could take creme fraiche right now. I could fix it. You know what I mean? People are like, no, just wait 5 hours for it to reset. No, I'm eating my soup now. Track and field. I'm eating my soup. You know what I mean? Anywho, I dropped my pen, which is probably glad for Joe, because he's not going to hear me clicking at it. By the way, last week, for those listening last week, it was not I who was clicking the pen last week. It was not me. I did not click the pen last week. Don't blame me.
Pen clickers. Really, really tragedies of society.
Do you know who was really good at this back in the day? Was anyone on the debate team but me. They had all, in high school, learned the pencil flipping trick. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where they can just sit there, they can stare you dead in the eye, and they can flip their pencil around their finger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's silent. Joe, you should tell everyone that if they want to work with you, they have to learn the pencil flip. You know?
Is that like like what the drummers do with their sticks?
Yeah, but with a pencil, and like it's like God's fidget, because it's deadly silent. It's just like boom, boom. It's like you can't hear a thing.
Very
you know what I mean?
very ninja.
It's very just silence. Yeah. All right, Jack. Since you are our only bi-coastal person today, what have you had last week in the realm of food? Let's try to keep it to food.
Yeah. Okay. I was in Pennsylvania actually with my high school friends who are all like extreme Long Island dudes. You know, like two of them are mechanics, and like just very, very Long Island kind of vibe.
Extreme Long Island, like they had Camaros?
No, like accent wise, and just sort of like the palate. You know, a real Italian Long Island guy.
Yeah.
So I did Kenji's chicken parm recipe, which is like a buttermilk brine. And it came out really, really well.
Yeah?
I have to say.
All right. Where in Pennsylvania?
No, it did. Like Poconos area.
Oh,
right
so close.
Airbnb. It was like a kind of...
I love it. I love it over there. I'm going to Pittsburgh in a week, and I have maybe one meal that I get to choose. So I'm going to stop by. I can feel John behind me burrowing into my head. I'm going to stop by the meat store for you on the way over.
Excellent.
And get you your ring bologna.
Beautiful.
By the way.
And jerky.
Yeah, and jerky. I'll get you whatever you want. So the name of the store, what is it? Deitch?
Dietz's.
Dietz's. It's this one store when you're traveling across Pennsylvania, you go a certain direction, and it's like, they just hack up every animal and then cure every part of it. And like some of it's in liquids, and some of it's jerkied, and some of it's Dietrich's. And they also have a very good. For those of you that have never been to Pennsylvania or understand anything about anything, Pennsylvania is the snack food capital of the world, right? Yeah. That's why if you look at anything of chips or pretzels, it says, Rega U Penn, like it's basically like it's a Pennsylvania thing, like
Penn Dutch.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they potato chip, everything, all the snacks. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not Fritos. Let's give someone else Fritos. You know what I mean? And tortilla chips, but they're now made in Pennsylvania.
Fritos, Fritos Lay or just Fritos?
No, Fritos the item, like Frito Lay, like the Fritos. I think everyone loves them, so they can't be underrated. But I think they're under-eaten because they're too expensive. I think the issue with Fritos is that you look at the bag and you're like, why is that bag $5? It's so tiny, but it is heavy because they're a dense thing.
They're dense.
They're dense, but they're good. Are you pro? Is everyone here pro Frito pie?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. The hack for me is at 7-Eleven, you get the Frito bag, you buy the Frito bag.
Right.
You then walk over to the chili and the cheese, open the bag, dump the chili and cheese in, and then get a fork and eat it straight out of the bag.
How do they scan it?
They just scan the Fritos.
Oh, wait.
That's free. Chili and cheese is free.
Whoa.
This is a hack.
Oh, you assemble in store. Wow.
You buy the bag of Fritos. You then walk over to the hot dog area. You then open the bag. You put the chili in. You put the cheese in. You get a plastic fork. You walk out of the store with your bag of chili cheese Fritos.
Stop. You can do this while staring the person in the eye, and they won't. What?
Yeah, it's a secret.
Hey, everyone. You're welcome. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. That's nuts.
That's how I roll in a 7-Eleven.
Man.
Just a heads up. There's a caller that just joined us. We're not sure if that's maybe one of our fellow companion producers.
Hello, perhaps producer.
Sure is.
Hey, Quinn, what's up? How you doing?
I'm alive.
You're like, okay. So I know you've been feeling not good, but do you have any food? I saw you did some tortillas. You want to talk about them?
Yeah, I know. Again, I've been resting, but my dad's been working like a dog. So, yeah, we did the full kernel to masa nixtamalization tortilla thing, and I think it turned out, pretty good for like the first real attempt.
Yeah, you know what? So what were you grinding the masa in with?
We had like a hand cranked Mexican style grinder.
We got like the Corona from Colombia. The Corona, yeah. I hate those things so much. Wow. I hate them. Oh my God, I hate them. Although, is it very old? I think the older ones were a little bit better. Like they're sand cast, right? So like how good the burrs are in one of those things depends entirely on the casting, the particular casting that you get. So, you can get ones that can't grind worth spit, or you can get one that has been used so much like that, one person has eaten like their lifetime supply of zinc coating and cast iron, but yours grinds well. So like, what was the general feeling of the folk who actually had to put their arm into it?
I mean, it put several hours to grind a kilo, like on and off.
Oh God. God, how many times? Two times? Two times or three times? 2 or 3 times through?
One time.
All right. Man, yeah, I feel sorry for your dad and your brothers, who I feel sorry for. Because, did they hook a drill up to it?
Well, no, today it was just my dad. Next time it's my brother.
Yeah.
Reminds me of that barbecue spit spinning.
Yeah. Quinn's.
We had a Google sheet, Doc. People's turns are gonna show.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's I think why beer was invented. I'm pretty sure. You know what I mean?
Beer invented to survive.
While you're turning a spit. You know what I mean? It's like it took so long to cook your meat that like the stuff was sitting there fermenting next to you. By the way, I'm interested in anyone in the New York area. I know there's one or two, I haven't tried them yet, making makgeolli. Very pro makgeolli. Anyone who's making makgeolli, which is the Korean rice wine that's not made with koji, which, by the way, if you're interested in koji, and why wouldn't you be, please check out Richie's new Substack, flavorfreaks.net. They use Naruk. I know I've spoken about this on air, but the interesting thing about Naruk is it's wheat-based. So it's like cracked and then wheat with flour mixed, kneaded, and then molded into what looks like a Hall's like cough drop, but big, and then squished underfoot, and then put in straw, and then kept at a high humidity for a while to start growing its own form of non-koji like molds. It's then dried out, cracked up, and then mixed with the steamed rice to make all the different kinds of Korean rice. All the different kinds of Korean rice wines and beverages are made with Naruk and not with koji. And this stuff is fantiddly-astic. And I want to find someone who's making it here, maybe not even traditional Korean. Like, I particularly think that Americans would like the variety called champagne makgeolli, which is where it's bottled with, and they might do dosage, but the cool thing about makgeolli is that you don't just make it once. Typically you'll make it, and then often you can charge it with rice again and again and get different kind of effects depending on the temperature and how many times you've charged it with fresh liquor. And then you can have it totally clarified, or you can have it milky and bubbly, which is amazing. So when it's milky and bubbly, it's fresh, and you'll appreciate this, Nick, alive, right?
Still fresh, still alive.
It's alive in the way that pulque is alive, and I've never had real pulque, so I've only had it in a can after it's been killed, right? So makgeolli is a living thing. So I want to find someone who doesn't want to make that doesn't want to make a dead object.
In Brooklyn, they're already doing it.
I know, but I haven't tried their stuff. I'm interested in trying. Maybe get them on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm interested in trying, people doing. And the other thing is that there's so many different ways to do it that I don't think that maybe there's wrong answers, but I don't think there's a right answer. Mm. You know what I mean? Something can be overtly flawed, I guess, but they have different levels of acidity because they're wild. They're wild. They're literally wild and also wild. You know what I mean?
Just quickly, I think we have another caller calling in. I think it might be one of our fellow companions, producers. Is this Nastasia on the line?
Hey. Oh, wait.
It's just me.
Just you. Wait. Yeah. So what day is it now? Tuesday. All right. Wait. So I never know, and you get mad because I've known you for 8,000 years, and I don't remember anyone's birthday. Is it your birthday? Or was it your birthday?
No.
Quinn's birthday was before. Your birthday's in April. I know it's somebody's birthday, but I don't know whose. It was Quinn's birthday 3 days ago.
Quinn's birthday.
It's your birthday's in April.
4 days ago.
I don't know. That's when you made the puffed tortillas. My brain is hosed, man. Brain is hosed. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
happy belated birthday, Quinn.
Happy birthday.
Well, that's messed up, dude.
Oh, jeez, Chris. That was terrifying.
Yeah. All right. So back to tortillas for 1 second. Here's I did some tortillas too. I've been doing flour tortillas because
Boo.
No, incorrect. That's what I used to say. I think that I think a great corn tortilla is a work of angels, but a great flour tortilla is also. And so now that anyone can have regular access to the flour that makes God's tortilla, by the way, the one that people normally buy is Hayden's Mills, which is great. It's they grow good stuff. They stone grind. It's not 100% Sonoran white wheat. I believe it's not 100% whole wheat, but it might be, right? I highly recommend this is something where you grind your own. So I would buy white Sonoran wheat. You can get it from Breadtopia. The farmer that grows it is they are Native Americans. And in fact, I called them, and I didn't call them, I emailed them. And I said, hey, listen, I'm currently buying like 5-pound and like 20-pound units from Breadtopia. Can I just buy like 40 or 50 pounds at a time from you directly? I'll pay the same amount, right? Can I support you and they're like, no, it's easier for us to ship in bulk to Breadtopia and you buy it from them. So you're not like shafting them at all. Go to Breadtopia, get the Sonoran White. And although Breadtopia did shaft me the other day, get this. I ordered 40 pounds of Yakora wheat from them. And it came, the bag was punctured, so the entire inside of the box was filled with wheat. And the wheat itself, anytime you buy wheat, you need to look at it. So look at the first like get like 3 quarts of it and spread it on a full-size sheet tray and look, right? Some wheat's going to throw off dust. Some wheats, probably won't throw off bugs because they've killed those things with like high speed, called an enteliter, I can't pronounce it. Anyway, but you want to look for foreign seeds. You want to look for molds, and you want to look for like weird little things. So like usually the things that make it through are the things that are in the shape of wheat, which makes them hard to get out. My 40 pounds of wheat, full of little clay balls in the shape of wheat. So I had to sift through 42 pounds of wheat kernels, and every like 1 quart thing that I was sticking onto my sheet tray and looking at, like kernel by freaking kernel, everyone had at least 1 or 2 clay balls in it. So I was like, oh my God. This is why crazy Sylvester Graham told you to wash all of your wheat. I've just recently done a test on washing wheat and then drying it. I didn't notice much of a difference in the bread. So I don't think you need to worry about it as long as your wheat's relatively clean. But back to Sonoran White. When you grind Sonoran White, when you're in mill, which I hope you guys eventually get a flour mill, you want to first clean your burrs with rice. You want to put rice, white rice, not brown, white, because you don't want any fat at all. You want something very hard and sharp, which is what rice is. You want to grind it, not too coarse, but also not too fine. And that's going to scrape your burrs clean and, in essence, redress them if you do like half a cup of white rice. Get all the rice out. And then you want to grind it so fine that just before your burrs lodge up, you need to get it so that you're going to feel the flour and it's going to feel gritty. Take it one little snap further and it's going to feel greasy. And you can't do that with many wheats, but you can do it with Sonoran White because it doesn't gum up the way a lot of other things do. You can get that kind of greasy feel. And you want to get that so that you can get the huge puff. You want to really beat the snot out of the starch, get a lot of good damaged starch in there, and really get the bran fine, get all the particles fine. And then you can have a fantastic tortilla flour. I did 40 tortillas on Sunday, and we had like an 85 to 90% puff rate. Now, when I puff my tortillas, I don't do a traditional Southwestern style because I'm a white guy from New York. What I do is I use the Sonoran White wheat, and I use a very tortilla similar recipe. I use olive oil, in fact, in mine, and not lard because I have a lot of vegetarians coming over. But I puff it chapati style. So I take a large griddle. I have a crepe maker, so it makes my life easy. And then, you get it pretty hot, and then you put it down until it's just blistering. So I make the balls. I'll tell you the exact recipe, in fact. I use, for 500 of that flour, I'll use 79.5% water, so like 397, about 5% oil, like 24.3 of olive oil, and about 1.9% salt, 9.3 salt. I make 40-gram balls out of it. So you need the hell out of it. Let it sit for a couple of hours. Let it fully hydrate. Make balls. Throw those balls into flour because they're wet, right? And then roll them as thin as you can. I tried using a tortilla press. I hated it. Rolled them out like you would roll a chapati. And then on the hot griddle until you start seeing little blisters on top. Flip it once, boop, and then onto a handheld grate. Get a chapati grate. Like onto a grate over an open flame. Boom, footballs. Boom, 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 footballs. And you want them to puff so that they steam themselves on the inside and they don't dry out, but they're cooked. And I'll tell you another little secret is that I had some left over, and usually you can't reheat chapatis made with atta. They just don't reheat well. The ones with the Sonoran White, they do reheat well if you steam them for like 30 seconds. You want to steam them for like 30 seconds because they're so thin and they've already puffed once that just a light steam brings them back. Not 100% because they don't have the outside texture's not perfect anymore, but they're not at all effed up. So that's my weekly cooking for you guys. Yeah. And one last thing I want to try. that I haven't tried yet because I had to cook for someone's birthday and they wanted my pork chili and my veg goop and my tortillas, right? They didn't want what I wanted to make. You want to know what I want to make? Did I tell you my idea? Terrible news, by the way, for lovers of meat in New York City. The Ridgewood Pork Store closed earlier this year. Yes. Ridgewood Pork Store is no more. Yeah. I thought they owned the building, but they didn't. So Ridgewood Pork Store, you could smell it within a 2-block radius. You could smell the smoke, the good smoke. You know what I mean? And it was just a fantastic place, like all oak on the inside. Remember when we went there, John?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, all like meat hanging up on like old rails, like, oh, beautiful. And the one thing I used to be able to get there, one of the many things, was whole leaf fermented cabbage. And when I make stuffed cabbage, I like to use fermented cabbage leaves, not fresh leaves that have been blanched like a chump, right? Because you want to use like fermented cabbage leaves. And so then I was thinking, hey, what if instead of using rice, what if you did a lasagna, so not rice, lasagna and then sauerkraut pressed. So you got all the thing. So do like a stuffed cabbage lasagna situation. You think that'd be good?
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't fall apart when you cut into it.
Yeah, you got to get the moisture management right. You got to get it so it doesn't soup out on you. Mm-hmm. But what do you think? I think it would taste good. Cheese or no cheese? No cheese?
It's not, it
do you like stuffed cabbage, though?
As good as a lasagna.
But do you not like stuffed cabbage?
I like stuffed cabbage. But I don't love it. Stuffed cabbage is not my go-to.
I feel like the cabbage to meat ratio would be off.
Well, but don't you get to choose what that cabbage to meat ratio is?
I guess, but I think if you want a lasagna effect, it's going to be like 2 or 3 layers at least.
No, I'm using pasta instead of rice. There is actual pasta.
Oh.
So it's pasta,
then what's the lasagna?
Tomatoes, ground meat. No. I believe lasagna has cheese and no sauerkraut. Right, so you remove the sauerkraut. Remove the cheese and add sauerkraut and like something like a stuffed cabbage, like in the form of lasagna with a pasta base. I think it would be good.
I don't.
Sure.
Why not? Why don't you think it would be good?
I think there's a reason we haven't seen that.
Yeah, because people in Hungary like have those cabbages and they just make it the way they want to. Because
lasagna cabbage is not great.
Because no one's done it. Because you go to Italy and they're not like, we have 8 tons of sauerkraut. You know what I mean? Not the charcuterie capital of the world.
I guess you can lasagna anything. I once took Thanksgiving leftovers and made lasagna with like a layer of stuffing and then a layer of turkey. And I made like a lasagna out of Thanksgiving leftovers. And it was surprisingly great.
You know what else is great?
I love that idea. It's like the bechamel is the gravy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like chilaquiles as lasagna is delicious, right? You could basically take the concept of chilaquiles and make it into lasagna,
and verticize it.
Yeah, and you know what it is? Good.
Yes, that sounds great.
With an egg on it, please. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of Mexican cuisine can be lasagna sized.
I think everything can be lasagna side. Although, to be fair, the chilaquiles one, you're not using pasta. You're using the
tortilla.
Tortilla. Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah. Fantastic. Right? It's like, you're halfway to like an enchilada pie or something. You know what I mean? It's
what's that Mexican dish that I love? It's almost like nachos, or it's an Indian dish, but it's like nachos. And it has like potato and the yogurt and the chips and
the little dish, the puris?
No.
The panipuri?
It's just chaat.
Oh,
the world of chaat.
Yeah.
It's like a nacho lasagna.
Look, it turns out that when you take a bread stuff and then you like put things onto said bread stuff,
it happens to work.
The bread stuff. Hey, what? What do you got?
I was going to say, I also did something original with my masa.
All right, let's hear it.
I actually made masa gnocchi.
Now, how was it?
It was pretty good. It was just basically 2 parts masa by weight, 2 eggs, whole eggs, a little masa harina to tighten it up, but then we actually dispensed it, sort of Wiley style, like a a Parisian gnocchi.
Yeah, he gets that from Jackie Peeps. I think Jackie Peeps was the first person I saw doing that out of a piping bag. You know what Wiley does? Wiley ties dental floss over the Wiley.
Yeah, no, that's what we do.
Yeah, dental floss.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, you tie
drink.
dental floss between the two handles of your pot. So you have a pot of boiling water, and you tie dental floss over the top of the pot, and then you take your bag and you're just like, but not with like you're not Irish when you're doing it. So it's like, you know what I mean? So you're like, you know what I'm saying?
Moving to Montana soon. Gonna be a dental floss tycoon.
Wow. We need to have you back all the time, Nick. Nastasia, what do you have in this week's blah, blah, blah?
Nothing food related. So
Nothing food related at all? Come on, you ate something.
I mean, Jack and I go out, but I don't think we went anywhere worth mentioning, right, Jack?
Did you go anywhere?
I
don't, without naming the place that you hated, what dish did you have that you despised? Because Jack always despises something.
What did I have that I despised? Or
the
last thing I had that sucked.
I mean, like, I feel like, you're pretty harsh sometimes in a good way. Not bad.
Oh, soggy truffle fries at the Greek Theater.
Oh, what a nightmare.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
What a nightmare. By the way,
truffle oil?
Of course.
2,4-dithiapentane?
Gross.
Well, give it to me again.
2,4-dithiapentane?
No. Sounds wretched. Wretched. Oh my God! Don't you love when you walk into a place and all you smell is the truffle oil and you're like,
makes me sick.
What's the white truffle oil fake? What's that one? Is that also that's also different?
Yeah, they use this synthetic chemical odorant called 2,4-dithiapentane to simulate the odor of a truffle when it's actually fake and it smells more like rotten feet than the delicate ephemeral quality of a fresh white truffle.
I'm not sure what you think about truffle oil, Nick, but I'll say this. Someone once calculated that if you added up all of the truffle oil that's produced, it would be like the truffles had been like, 80 times the number of truffles that have ever been, produced.
Yeah, it substitutes the illusion of something for the thing itself.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of not quite the thing itself, have any of you guys tried the Australian black truffle? The one that it actually is a black Perigord truffle, that species, whatever, it just went out of my head, but that species, but grown in Western Australia, and it's off season. Have you ever tried them? Is that any good?
I have not.
What about you, John?
I have not.
No.
I'm trying to figure out something we can have at the bar where I can just stare at a person and I just keep adding it and it keeps adding to their bill the way they do for a truffle, because like we need something in a bar where if someone comes in and they want to be an idiot with their money, that you can allow them to be an idiot with their money. And truffles are fantastic for that because, once you have enough truffle on your eggs or pasta, you don't need, or your raviolo, single, but you don't need more, but it's not going to really hurt it to have more. So you can just sit there and just be like, shoom, 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 shoom. And then you look at the person, almost always a guy, you look at him, shoom, and you make them feel like if they stop you that they're cheap. There's got to be
you really reach into the deep insecurities of a man when you let it rain truffle and stare him in the eye and you see how far are you willing to reach into your pocket for this one dish.
Yeah, the key is to not freak them out too much. So I think the key is you look at the truffle when you're shaving it, and then every 3 slices you look up with a little bit of a side.
You looking for the nod? Keep going, or like you should stop.
Don't say when.
Yeah. And then they're like, and you're like, shoom, shoom, shoom. And then they have to keep going more because they're trying to impress whoever they're with.
I feel that way about the Parmigiano Reggiano. I've never had the courage to allow as much Parmigiano Reggiano grated onto my plate in a restaurant as I truly want.
That's because you feel bad because they're not weighing it before and after and adjusting your bill accordingly.
No. But what
if they were, you get as much as you want.
I really do require like a separate parm dish to be added as I continue eating. That's the proper way to eat certain foods.
Okay. Quick question. First of all, I can't help myself when I actually have it on the table. I'll always jab a knife into the Parmigiano, break off a chunk, and just eat it.
Well, I like to end the meal. They say in Italy, never leave a table without a piece of cheese in your mouth. It's the last thing you do before you end a meal is you little piece of cheese and you walk away.
I see. Now, what?
That we went.
All right.
We just remembered as you guys.
Give it.
We went to this Italian place. Nick, you've been there too.
Dan Tana?
Dan Tana's.
Yeah. Legendary establishment in L.A. Red and white checkered tablecloth.
Is it like a musso sort of thing?
Better.
Yeah, explain it, Stas.
Jack has a way better explanation being a Long Islander.
Wow.
What was my explanation? I don't remember. I mean, the food's not good, but it's, the best vibe you could ever ask for.
Agreed, 100%.
It's the kind of place where the bartender just looks at you and says, "Go ahead."
What does that mean?
Of like
Like
what
to
can
fight?
I get you? Or
I remember when I was there, they were almost disturbed that we were there.
Huh.
It's kind of like an insider joint.
All right. One last thing before I get to the. I kind of want to go with Nastasia because she likes places that are like that. I'm going to say something that's going to piss you off, Nastasia. I think you would enjoy Australia.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I would like, it's just the accent. That's it. Like, I'm sure I would love it.
I really think you would like it. Like I only went to Sydney, but I really think you would enjoy Sydney. Yeah. So sorry about that. Yeah. Now, put it on the list of places to uncross off where you need to go. You know what I mean? Like, cause, good place. And I'm not going to try to convince you guys to like Vegemite because you need to come to that on your own. You know what I mean?
It's certainly an acquired taste.
We've got a Discord question for Nick.
Well, is it one of the questions that I'm about to read him or a different new question?
Nope. He forgot to submit.
All right, do it.
All right. So this is from Andrew Cummings in Oakland, California. I recently visited Italy and stayed with a friend's family, and she recommended olive oil as a gift. I wanted to get something that they couldn't get there, so ended up getting Sciabica's Mission olive oil, since they say it's a California native variety. They say they harvest them very ripe and late in the season, which I find interesting. What does he think of that variety of olive? Did I mess up?
I think that's the name of the brand, not the olive cultivar.
Okay.
But do you know the brand? Come on, man. It's like talking to my kids.
Yeah, I think that's a California brand. However, if they're bragging about harvesting later in the season, I find that deeply alarming. All olives start their life green and ripen to a deep purplish black. And typically the best olive oils in the world are these early harvest oils where the olives are 85% lemony green. You get less oil in the fruit, but the oil tends to be more vibrant and dynamic.
So, Nick, you're talking about early harvest olive oils. I see you brought some olive oils. While you opening the olive oils that you're going to do, before you talk about them, let me ask you an olive oil related question from the Patreon. So this is from Worst Salad. I read an article about olio secondo Veronelli, a method of oil production in Italy codified and evangelized by wine critic Luigi Veronelli. There's a website, but it seems pretty niche. You can count the quote-unquote approved producers on one hand. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts, if you have any, and just as a brief thing, in case I didn't know what Worst Salad was talking about, so I looked it up, and it's basically this person who, right before they died, they were old when they did it, they said that they wanted to make their own olive oil that is 1, no chemical farming, 2, quick pressing of fruit on site, 3, depitting the olives before pressing, and then pressing only individual cultivars, and then labeling with the cultivar, the date, and where it comes from, and only packaging in glass. So like the basics according to, I forget where I scraped that, but so that's what we're talking about. Nick?
All of that sounds good. The removing of the pit before extraction is a method in Italian known as dinocciolate. And the theory is that it gets rid of some of the bitterness in the oil, though I think that's overblown, and that's why 95% of world-class producers leave the pit in, and the pit gets removed in the centrifuge that separates the solids from the water from the oil. So I don't think that step is really important to remove the pit before extraction.
And you're pro-centrifuge, correct?
Pro-centrifuge, pro-modern milling, where in the traditional method, which is called first cold pressed, the olives are crushed with granite wheels into an olive paste, and it's stacked on what looks like a 100-layer lasagna known as fiscoli, and it's put in a physical hydraulic press. What comes out is about 20% oil and 40% water. The remaining 40% are the pit skins and pulp left over on the mats.
Wait, so what's the yield?
It depends on the cultivar and the moment of harvest, but I'd say generally 20% oil, 40% water, and the remaining 40% are the solids.
And then the solids, what, pig feed?
The olive pits can be dried and crushed and used as fuel to heat home in the winter because they burn very steady and evenly. The leaves can be used to make olive leaf extract, which is high in oleoropine and good for the immune system. And the skins and pulp can go into animal feed.
Are you against a high-quality oil producer selling their leftovers to, like, a chemical extraction, like, oil factory?
No, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, all right. Because I'm sure there's a lot of oil left in it, right?
There's a small amount of oil left in it that you have to add heat or chemical solvents to extract the remaining amount.
Right.
But it's not much.
Not enough, you're saying?
No, it's not an important component.
They don't, like, jack it with hexane, get the oil out, and, like, that's what I would do.
They
I would
do,
jack
and
it
use
with
industrial.
hexane.
And some producers I know will have 2 mills on premise, one for their high quality stuff and another for more industrial oil. And they're kept separate. So the oil and the olives from one never goes to the other, and it's a quality control thing.
I see. All right. So
by the way, just to be clear, going back to it's Shibika olive oil, not Schiabata. It's Shibika.
Oh, man, now you're nuking on John. Jeez Louise.
Shibika olive oil. It's California oil, and they actually are a very famous family that I'm sure does good oil, though the late harvest thing, it's like that there's just more issues that can happen to the olive the later you harvest. It's the last crop of the year. You harvest the olives in November, even possibly into December. So the longer they're on the tree, the more problems can arise, weather problems, pest problems, and getting it off the tree earlier is just a very good technique.
Fustiness? Does it get more fusty?
Fustiness happens when after the olives are picked and they sit in piles, and if they sit there too long, they undergo anaerobic fermentation, and that gives you the defect known as fusty, which is like a cured table olive.
Yeah, baby. Anyway, I know you. What's the one that you say that is intentionally fustified that's good?
The one from Provence in the south of France, which is called Fruité Noir, where they intentionally add the defect of fustiness by temperature controlling very green early harvest fruit for a few days to get this like perfect, clean, fusty quality, which is really nice in fish or potatoes or anything where you want to add the black olive tapenade flavor without the texture.
You know what oil I had fresh and I didn't enjoy it? Perilla oil. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. It had a kind of like a nori taste. It wasn't for me. Sesame oil, yes. Sesame oil, yes.
It's no olive.
No, it's not. All right. So why don't you tell us what you brought? And while you're doing that, you have before on the show thrown shade on some of the old school first press stuff, specifically the Nunez de Prado stuff that used to be famous back in the 80s and 90s. Were they ever great, you think? Or is it just they've been surpassed by modern technology or what?
I think it's interesting in food. A lot of food doesn't taste like the way food is supposed to taste. You look at bananas, you look at strawberries, you see these things. They look like bananas, they look like strawberries, and you taste them, and they're kind of nothing. I think, like, over decades, the taste of food is becoming more abstract from the way it's supposed to taste, and we get used to it as the decades roll on, and we think it's normal. But what's interesting about olive oil is we're living in the golden age of high-quality fresh olive oil. Olive oils have never in the history of 8,000 years of production been produced at this level consistently globally, and you can order it directly delivered to your door. So it's like an amazing product at the moment.
How would they order this directly to their door?
You go to groveandvine.com.
I see.
And we have a Cooking Issues promo thing that is available.
All right, nice. Now, please open these and pour these. We'll describe what you're pouring. And,
we have 9 minutes
We have
left.
9 minutes and 14 seconds, and then we get ripped off here.
So what we have, because it is September in New York City, I have gone to the Southern Hemisphere in the beginning of June to source fresh olive oil from the Southern Hemisphere which at the moment is the freshest oil on the planet. We have 2 oils here from Chile. One is by the producer Alonso, and another is by the producer Monte Olivo. The Alonso oil is made with the Picual olive, which is the name of the fruit, always has something to do with something. So Picual comes from pico, meaning pointed, because the fruit itself has a nice point to it. And the Picual olive hails from Spain and typically has aroma of green tomato leaf when harvested early.
Let me smell. I love green tomato leaf.
So here we go.
I love that smell. We used to distill that stuff because I love the smell of it so much. Back when people used to say it was poisonous, which of course, maybe, a little poison.
Now, we work with different artists.
Ooh. Show them the label.
Here's the label. We work with different artists. My dear friend Susan Minot, the novelist and painter, did the art for this label. And early harvest Picual oil, when milled
spelled like Minot the
correctly-
town, like spelled like Minot, North Dakota.
Minot.
Yeah.
Like Minot.
Yeah.
And smells like green tomato. You want to try this?
Yeah,
I got it from him. I handed him one.
So you always want to put it in the palm of your hand, cup
I
it with the
forgot.
other hand,
Oh, jeez Louise.
and swirl the oil and warm it.
This is why I love you.
Now, you swirl it, the bottom palm warms the oil, the top palm traps the aromas. And when we taste oil, it is a time to slow down. It is a leisurely activity.
Oh, God.
And the action is in the glass, and the answers are inside of you.
I never find that to be the case, Nick. All right, I'm going to smell it now.
So
okay?
now we just smell.
Okay.
Just smell. Early harvest, Picual, when the fruit is 85% lemony green, milled in a modern method where the olives go through a series of vacuums and centrifuges, and the fruit is never exposed to oxygen in the production process, which is a faster, cleaner, and more sanitary method of oil extraction. Because the transformation of fruit to oil is so critical that you can destroy the volatile aromas in the milling process.
Every step is a chance to ruin it, isn't it?
Every step is an opportunity for greatness and a chance to ruin it.
Yeah. What do you think, John? I think it smells lovely.
It's really nice.
I get the green. I get the green.
The most important part of olive oil production.
Would this be good on a tomato? Should I have had this a couple of days ago with my freaking Aunt Ruby's?
It would have been outstanding on tomatoes.
God's tomatoes, remember, are Aunt Ruby's German Green and the German stripes, the stripes from Stokes Farms. You have to pick them yourself. Don't let somebody else buy your tomatoes. Don't ever let somebody else buy your tomatoes for you.
It's a very personal thing.
Yeah.
And then we taste it, we sip it, and aerate it in the mouth so the oil hits all parts of the mouth.
All right, noise
cavity.
alert, people.
Aerate it, hits all parts of the mouth cavity, then you stop, then you swallow. You may notice a peppery sensation. What causes that in the throat is oleocanthal, which is a natural antioxidant and polyphenol found in the oil and is considered an attribute of quality. And they talk about 1 cough, 2 cough, and 3 cough oils in terms of intensity.
I tend not to cough.
It's because you're a professional. So that is early harvest Chilean Picual. Olive traditionally hails from Spain, but is grown all over the world.
I would eat the hell out of that.
Because people love it. Because it's great olive
I would
oil
eat the hell out of that. You know what I would want with that? Bread. Like, in other words, like it doesn't require anything else.
Very simple.
Bread.
Though it would be great on beans and in soups and pastas and lots of different things.
It'd be really good on bread with tomatoes and stracciatella.
That would be one thing it would be good with.
By the way, that's always what I want with good oil. P.S. You know what I mean? Like, all right, what do we got coming up next?
Next one, also Chile. This is a very cool label.
How long is this going to taste like this?
Because it was harvested early and because it was milled in the modern method and because it's filtered and we've removed the micro and macroscopic olive sediment in it, it's going to have a longer shelf life. And if kept in a cool, dark environment, it's good for about a year.
No.
For sure.
At this level. I want to tell people something also. Like, every sip of it I take is growing in intensity because I find that with the oils, there's a persistence in some of the flavors. So, like, every sip of it is more intense in a good way than the one prior to it.
It's cumulative.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, unopened in a cool, dark environment, that's going to be good for a while and still have that green tomato leaf aroma. Because the fruit itself was so healthy in the beginning, it's the most important part of olive oil production is everything.
All right, explain this one because I have some more questions for you.
So this is from Chile, from a different producer. This artist is Marissa Regante, who's an incredible painter who did the label for this. And this is made with a Coratina olive, which traditionally hails from Puglia, which is the heel of the boot in Italy, but is grown all over the world due to its high antioxidant levels.
And you like that olive, right?
Love the Coratina olive. Now, this one is more grassy, bitter, and peppery, and would be excellent on a grilled seasoned steak or a soup or anything where you really want the oil to cut through and brighten up the dish.
That's another good use for olive oil. Drizzle it all over your magic pork.
You
got to go get your magic pork, and then you cook the magic pork. The magic pork has fat injected into it already, but oil is always welcome.
The lordly lipid.
Oil, I have to say, is the oil, salt, and pepper on a ribeye steak is where you wish to be.
And that sea salt flake at the end, right before you're about to eat it, and not a drizzle, but a dose. You need to dose your meat in olive oil.
I think we're on the same page here. And the steak needs to be, and I'm a low temp guy, but the steak needs to be warm enough that it still has some warmth. That's why, I'm a big believer in sizzle platters. But you want to mound it up on the sizzle platter because I know you don't care as much, but I don't want the oil to hit. I don't want the oil to get too hot. I want
I care.
Yeah.
That oil should be raw and it should be fresh, vibrant, and dynamic and cut through
that's
the
very
meat.
grassy. That's ridiculous.
Grassy, bitter, peppery,
It's like
typical of Coratina olives.
Like hexanal.
Wow.
Go for the hex.
Go for the hex. All right, I'm going to taste this now because I have questions for you. But I'm going to run out. While I'm tasting this, actually, why don't you answer this? Jordan, we talked last week because we had Leahy on. Continuing on from the discussion last episode of preference for butter or olive oil for dipping bread at restaurants, does Captain Oily always prefer olive oil over butter? What about low-quality olive oil versus high-quality butter?
100% high-quality butter over low-quality olive oil, especially in a restaurant. You want it to taste great, and high-quality butter is amazing, and low-quality olive oil tastes like gasoline.
Oh my God, the mouthfeel on this is ridiculous. Why is the mouthfeel so ridiculous on this?
It's still alive.
And it's the sharpest oil I've ever maybe tasted. This stuff's crazy.
Classic
This
Coratina.
stuff is crazy. It has a higher viscosity than I was expecting. It's crazy. Maddie wants to know, are you anti-infused olive oil or are there things you like? If someone wanted to use extra virgin olive oil for something like a chili oil for pizza, how would you recommend infusing? Room temp, low temp, how long, etc.? Thanks.
I would get excellent quality Calabrian chilies and I would have them dry. I would have dried chilies and I would just chop them up and put them in olive oil. It would be incredible. Keep it room temp, delicious. Generally, you would never take a world-class oil and infuse it. You typically, when you buy oils that are infused, they're not made with the best olives. But infused oils are wonderful. It's like a gateway drug.
Yeah. Phil Stan wants to know how to add xanthan to his frozen margaritas. Choose one of the liquids that isn't the booze. Like add the xanthan to the pineapple puree. All right. But you don't need to add that much. Like I only use 1 gram for like 1,400 mils of frozen stuff. You need only a little bit. The problem is when people prehydrate their xanthan in their mixes, they add too much and it hydrates all the way and it gets snotty. I'm going to talk to Nick about fried food next time because I want to make sure we get all the grease in. Talk about this olive oil a little bit more. We have 16 seconds for you to talk. And Alexander, I'm going to figure out how to use for your vanilla beans. Don't make vanilla extract. I'm going to figure it out. But talk about this oil on the way out and where they can get it one more time, Nick.
You can get this oil or the last oil at groveandvine.com. And if you're a member, there's a little bit of a Cooking Issues promo.
This is nuts.
Super fresh.
It's nuts. How long is this one going to stay this fresh? This fresh?
A year.
Oh, come on.
They're really good quality oils, and they have a nice shelf life because they're filtered.
All right. Thanks for coming on Cooking Issues.
Chin chin.